my partner, my husband, Rajan. South Vision is the uh, almost like a what you said as a mentor to learn Marxium, to see the world, I can say anything to be a true Marxist. So in that way, is very pioneer in publishing very important and vital books from other languages also. Uh, and he's our mentor, currently guiding South Vision Books. He's a family friend also. So I welcome Comrade Balaji to preside. I mean, he will be presiding this entire uh, program. And I also feel very happy to welcome Comrade Selvam. He's a former, he worked in a public sector company, and he was part of so many associations while he was working as an executive in the public sector company. And currently he is translating this book in Tamil, and he was part of Arivoli Iyakam, and currently he is a part of Tamil Nadu Progressive Writers Association in Puducherry, and also he is part of a film society which screens so many important films, which is very docu films and films, which is very much essential for social transformation. So I welcome you, Comrade Selvam. And he's also a translator, already translated some books and currently translating this book into Tamil. Soon, South Vision will launch the Tamil edition of this book, and you are all will be invited for that launch also. And I welcome Comrade and Advocate Vijay Kumar, who is close associate of Comrade Balaji. They both studied together and they both joined together, in SFI. And currently, he is a very famous advocate in Madras High Court, and he took many cases for the underprivileged Dalits and labor issues, and so many human rights issues in his career. And currently, he is a very famous lawyer in Madras High Court. And I welcome you, comrade. And I also welcome Professor Ravindran from Sri Lanka. He has written so many books, and as I said, he's part of Satyamanai Library. And I welcome Comrade Shankar from CPML Liberation and many other comrades from the CPML Liberation Party, from the Central Committee, from the various positions of the party. They have joined our meeting, and I welcome you all once again. And um, last but not least, I welcome writer Partha Banerjee, who has given who was given this chance to South Vision Books to release this Kindle version of this book. I welcome you, sir. And this book is a very essential book. As earlier, one of the comrades was telling that um, in South India, we are not much aware about the intense uh, uh, how RSS is functioning, how it is deep rooted, even though we are aware that it is quite dangerous and we have to work towards eliminating RSS, or we have to work against the RSS ideology. We have to unite together irrespective of our various differences to fight RSS and BJP. But this book gives deeper understanding. And moreover, the speciality of this book later on, all the comrades will share. So I'm not taking much of my time on that. But specifically to say that many times those who are saying about BJP and RSS will be they'll be talking on their Hindutva ideology and their religious communalistic ideology. But you are not only mentioning that danger of RSS, but you are also saying that in economy, how dangerous they are, and how they are for the corporates. So that part you are saying, and not only economy and communalism, you're also talking about their role in devastating the environment, climate change, CAA, and various other. I mean, as a holistic, you are giving a all and nook and corners of the dangerous part of RSS and BJP, which is, I think, so very special in this book. And you have mentioned in this book that, as a I'm not a communist, I'm not an atheist, I'm a religious person. I believe in Jagur, and but I feel that exposing RSS and BJP and their ideology is like I mean, for Hindus, immersing in Ganges River is like it's a sacred thing. So you compare that writing these books with that. So it was really, I just felt that I have to share this point. So, like that much committed you are to expose the RSS and BJP to the common people, to the people of India from US, and it's very, very important work. As I said, South Vision feels very, very happy and feels very important that even as it's a one of the, I mean, we have published so many important books, as I said earlier, and this is also a milestone in our publication history, I would say. Thank you for that, giving us the opportunity. And I end this note with one happy note that earlier, um, we for 5 days in Kindle, we have given free download for your book. More than 100 people from various parts of the world have downloaded the book, and the audio version of the book is also available. So many people are downloading and listening to this book. With this happy note, I'm handing over to Comrade Balaji to preside the function. Thank you.
Good evening, friends and comrades. I will take just a minute or two as a way of my experience regarding to understand the role of Gandhi, how to assess him, was always a round circle. I started in one place and I completed a full circle. And I would say, as a just a, that Richard Attenborough's Gandhi's film was a big eye opener for me regarding Gandhi and the national movement. With that, and you can know right, center, left, all have their own views on it. Some of them, sometime it even the right, left have a similar viewpoint on Gandhi. Sometimes. Then there is a fourth other section, subalterns who hate Gandhi. Um, the subaltern studies, Oxford have published it, a series of books. And they talk about different history. They don't take mainstream politics into the consideration at all. So with that, I will just, by way of, I'm not introducing this book because people are, Partha is, Dipankar has come. Dipankar is going to release a book and talk about it. And Vijay Kumar is there. So I'll just, as a presiding speech, I'll end this note with that I have come that today when I just saw in the net Irfan Habib's Shahamat lecture in 1994 in Delhi. He says, I'll just quote one paragraph, it will take a minute. Please bear with me. I'll just quote this one paragraph. I should like to begin with he says in the second paragraph, I should like to begin with the embarrassment of my own first encounter with the problem of assessment of Gandhiji. In slightly personal terms, my difficulties are not exceptional. They might have been faced by many who came to the communist movement during the first phase of the national movement. With my parents, it was not usually to refer to him as Gandhiji, but only as Mahatma Ji. Even to refer to him as Gandhiji was thought of and taking liberty. Sorry, something happened. Okay. There's some problem. So Irfan Habib says in the in that speech that his assessment on Gandhi itself, he had various pros and cons, and I too had that same thing. With that, I will not take much of your time. I'll stop get my note on that. Since I just read Irfan Habib's on Gandhi and National Movement, his speech at 1994 at Shahamat, it's a valuable experience. I will just give the a link also. People can go into that. With that, I end my speech. Give the floor to Kishaveni to compare the whole program.
Thank you, Comrade Balaji. And before inviting Comrade Dipankar to release the Kindle version and the audio version of the book, that today we have selected this day because today is the Jallianwala Bagh Massacre Day in 1919. Nearly, more than 1,500 to 2,000 people were killed and so many people were injured in Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. Comrade Balaji, only when we are thinking that which date can be fixed for releasing this Kindle version of this book, Comrade Balaji rightly suggested that we can, in memory of the martyrs of the Jallianwala Bagh, we can have it on April 13th. And I just read a piece that in 2019 only, Britain, they didn't apologize, they didn't ask apology for Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, but just expressed their deep regret for this gruesome murders and massacres. So with that, I welcome Comrade Dipankar, the General Secretary of CPML Liberation, and the MSc Statistics graduate, and is a gold medalist in his studies. And last year, he wrote an article in the Wire about 2023 is the centenary year for the RSS. So with that, he wrote an article explaining that how RSS is trying to build its network internationally. So with that idea, how they are organizing national conferences and their agenda to make India as a place for the conservatives from various parts of the world. So that article is, I think, so very important article, and he has written so many articles. I've read it in EPW and many other magazines. So I welcome once again Comrade Dipankar to release the audio version and the Kindle version of this book, this Gandhi Killers, India's Rulers, book of Partha Banerjee. Let us, and after that, the floor is yours, Comrade.
Yeah, Comrade Partha, you can give the status.
The book.
Yeah, it's been already published in the Kindle edition. Yeah.
Right. So I think since it is an online meeting, the only thing I don't really know how you expect me to release it, except saying that this is a very welcome.
Yeah.
Right. So this is, I think, a very, very welcome decision on your part, welcome initiative to translate Partha's book. I think it is being translated in several languages in India. And as you pointed out, that probably the awareness and knowledge about RSS is not, very much, especially in Tamil Nadu. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I think it is absolutely necessary for people to know more about the RSS. Because at the end of the day, if the BJP today has reached this kind of stage where it controls so much of power in India, political power, economic power, social influence, and it penetrates, controls almost every institution. So central to the BJP's ascendance is the RSS. Uh, BJP is that way a fairly new organization, formed only in 1980. And then again, from the 1984 debacle, when the BJP had only 2 seats, from there to Advani's BJP and Vajpayee's BJP, and now Modi, Shah, Yogi's BJP, we often think that it is the BJP which has actually really evolved. And we tend to think that the RSS is a very orthodox, very fundamentalist kind of an organization, which is only out to control the BJP. So I'm not going to talk much about Partha's book because he has the advantage which we do not have. He has been an insider. So he brings the insider's view, the knowledge to the literature that we need about BJP, RSS today. But I would like to say that it is the RSS which brings all the flexibility, all the pragmatism that you see in this whole BJP project, in the fascist project, which combines the fascist, let's say, the fundamentals with adapting it to the conditions of India, the climate of international politics today. So the adaptability, flexibility, it all comes from the RSS. So the first thing about RSS is this is a very, very dynamic kind of an organization. It will be absolutely wrong to consider it to be just a fanatic, fundamentalist, orthodox kind of a sect. It is not. And since you began by remembering the Jallianwala Bagh massacre martyrs, of course, today is 13th, and that will remind us of the impact that Jallianwala Bagh had. It was Jallianwala Bagh which was behind the rise of Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh and his entire generation of revolutionaries in Punjab, they were all hugely moved by the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and that triggered kindled their patriotic fire in them, which eventually grew in a Marxist direction. And it was these days we often find that people are returning some awards. So let us remember Rabindranath Tagore, who had taken and shown great courage and, let's say, sensitivity to renounce his knighthood, the knighthood which the colonial powers had given him after the Nobel Prize and all. So he renounced that with the strongest possible words, condemning the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and the British repressive legacy. And since it is 13th of April, I think it also makes sense for me to remember the 2 days. 13th of April is sandwiched between 2 great days. One date is 11th of April, which is birth anniversary of Mahatma Phule, and which is so relevant in today's context. And we all know that a film being made, a biopic being made to popularize Phule's life and his ideas is facing a lot of censorship troubles. Whereas all these films like this Thawa and other films, which promote bigotry, promote hatred, Islamophobia, they have a free run. So this 13th of April comes just after 11th of April. And this is the eve of 14th of April, the anniversary of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. So we can say that we are actually at the point of convergence of the great legacy of India's freedom movement, the patriotic anti-colonial struggle, and the movement for social equality, social transformation in India. So all of this actually powered the freedom movement in India. And to understand the RSS, we should begin by considering that here is an organization which did not feel inspired by any of it, neither Jallianwala Bagh, nor these ideas of Phule, of course, the ideas of Ambedkar. It drew its inspiration from Mussolini and Hitler. So here is an organization which had absolutely no connection with the kind of patriotic, the surge of patriotic sentiment, the anti-colonial sentiment, anti-colonial struggles, which was happening in the late 18th, late 19th century, early 20th century. So RSS had absolutely no connection with that. And it talks about, it calls India's communists and others to have been influenced by foreign ideologies. So RSS is precisely that. It is inspired by Hitler and Mussolini. So it is, in many ways, the project of RSS in 1925. It begins at a period when fascism was in its infancy. Mussolini came to power in 1922, and the RSS is formed in India in 1925. So many of us who tend to think that the Modi government, of course, Modi is easily bracketed with, let's say, Trump or with Erdogan, with Bolsonaro, with many of these far-right leaders. So we tend to forget that the crucial component of fascism in India today is not the corporate kind of consolidation which is seeing in India, or the global backdrop of economic crisis and all that. The crucial component, the central component around which the BJP has all along revolved is the RSS. And this is an organization which has been fascist in its ideology, in its organization, in its mode of operation for all the 100 years that it has existed. So here is a non-stop fascist project being executed in India. It all depends on how much power they have. For example, during the freedom movement, when we had a very powerful anti-colonial setting in India, obviously the RSS could not possibly gain much power. So it remained a marginal organization during the freedom movement. It could not, it tried all its tricks, the rumors, the hatred, let's say, riot mongering, everything it tried, but it didn't really succeed in gaining much foothold. So from that to, let's say, today, when it finds itself in a position where it can dictate terms, it can define what nationalism in India today means. So Hindu nationalism, which was a very, marginal kind of a peripheral kind of a current during the freedom movement, has today become so central. And it is not just the BJP or RSS, there are a whole lot of organizations which are actually, promoting this Hindutva, various versions of it. Some call it soft Hindutva, some call it hard Hindutva. So there is a whole range of organizations which today are operating in this kind of a setting. So that is my number one point, that how much RSS will be able to execute its fascist agenda, that depends on the kind of political power it has. But in terms of its intent, in terms of its ideology, in terms of its commitment, in terms of its consistent, relentless, attempt, it has been there for all the 100 years. And in fact, 1949, when the Constitution was being adopted, so that time, the RSS, of course, it was very, very honest. So very honestly, they wrote an editorial saying that there is nothing Indian in this constitution. So they rejected the constitution, they rejected the flag, they rejected so many things then. And of course, it was after Gandhi assassination when they were banned. So they had to find some pragmatic ways of escaping that ban. And they said that we'll be accepting the constitution, we'll be accepting the flag, and will be operating just as a cultural organization. So that was just a tactical kind of adjustment that they made to escape the ban and to go mainstream once again. So from that time onward, there have been ups and downs, but they have been very, very consistent in this. And all the experiments that we see today, the BJP, for example, it combines two things. It has Islamophobia as its, let's say, central ideological plank. But Islamophobia alone is not sufficient. Islamophobia alone will not give BJP the cutting edge, the kind of social power appeal that it needs. So what the BJP does in state after state, it combines Islamophobia, the anti-Muslim kind of hatred, with some kind of social coalition against the dominant social group. For example, if you look at Haryana, where Jats have been the dominant social group, they have been the mainstay of the Congress party. So they have formed an anti-Jat social coalition. A lot of other castes, they have been cobbled together. And this has been cemented whereby the Islamophobia works as a glue to cement this kind of a social coalition. A similar thing they are even trying, even in Punjab, where the farmers' movement, obviously there is a counterpoint. The Dalit agricultural laborers in Punjab, they are not, they have a lot of, let's say, anxiety about the farmers' movement, about the rise of the rich peasantry. And BJP is trying to appropriate that, accommodate these Dalit agricultural laborers in Punjab in their game plan. Similarly, let's say in Bihar, in UP, where the Yadavs, they have been dominating. So the anti-Yadav, all those Dalits, extremely backward section castes, and non-Yadav other castes who have felt isolated, excluded from the scheme of power. So BJP has been, bringing them all together. So all this is being monitored, guided, directed by the RSS. We must understand this. It is not just some BJP leader who's doing this or doing that. So this, the RSS is definitely doing Islamophobia and the social engineering. And then, as you pointed out, my article in The Where, I've realized that for the last 5-6 years, there is this global kind of convergence of far-right forces, ideologies, under the global brand name, generic name of national conservatism. So that's the whole difference. For example, when fascism arose in 1922, just 5 years after the victorious Russian Revolution. So in fact, that is the kind of thing which history does. Lenin was expecting, the communists were expecting that there will be a lot of, the Russian Revolution will inspire revolutions in many other European countries. But that didn't really happen. There were attempts made in Germany which didn't succeed. Attempts were made in many countries that didn't succeed. But the counter-revolution in Italy, which took place under the fascist banner, so that happened just after 5 years. So in 17 November, we had the Russian Revolution. And by November 22, Mussolini was in power. So that time, when Germany, for example, happened, they called their ideology National Socialism because socialism was popular those days. So it was not just nationalism or ultra-nationalism, but with a combination of socialism. But today, socialism is not popular. So the fascists in any part of the world are under no pressure to camouflage their ideology as some form of socialism. Today they call it conservatism, national conservatism. And I found that this is the first time in the last conference where the RSS sent 2 representatives. Sense for all of us to watch their YouTube. I don't know if they're still there. The YouTube, those videos. It is very interesting to read their YouTube lectures. And there, they say that we are the biggest success story in terms of national conservatism. So in many places, the national conservatives, they are only, they have got sob stories. They are sobbing that they are not able to succeed. Whereas we have become successful. And so we are here to tell our success story to the whole world, sell and tell our success story. Now there, this our Ram Madhav makes some very interesting comments. The kind of clever WhatsApp University kind of stupid, clever or stupid, whatever, maybe your take. So he says, look, there are people who call us fascist. But how on earth can we be called fascist? Because we love Jews. We love Israel. So they are trying to make us believe that fascism probably got frozen in Germany. So anti-Semitism, it got frozen with anti-Semitism, and fascism probably cannot be flexible, cannot actually grow. So it's, if one takes a freeze shot of fascism in Germany and tells us that anybody who supports Israel today cannot be a fascist. So we understand, I mean, what a big mockery it is. Because what Israel today is doing in Palestine, that is the Holocaust of 21st century. People are comparing it to the German, anti-Semitic Holocaust then. But they are saying simply because we support Israel, we support Jews, we cannot be called fascist. And then he tells his white audience that, remember, those people who call us fascist also call you racist, call you white supremacist. So as though this whole, description of white supremacy, all these Black Lives Matter, the racism, as though it is just a fiction. So this is the real driving force in American politics today. Behind Trump, of course, there are tariffs, there are economic, all those crazy ideas. But the politically, it's racist and it is white supremacist. So the combination of fascism and racism, it's very, very clear, and they are actually giving it away. The other thing which we need to understand is with Israel. For example, Israel is driven by Zionism. And today, India has this strategic partnership with Israel. It is not limited to just Pegasus, some Mossad, the security surveillance and all those things. There is a very strong ideological underpinning behind this strategic partnership between India and Israel. And that is Islamophobia of the RSS, of the BJP. So that with the Zionist ideology. And they have, for example, we all know that Israel today, anybody who criticizes, condemns the genocide, criticizes Israel, they are accused of being anti-Semitic. So Israel conflates its whole existence with, that anybody who, criticizes us, opposes us, stands, charged with anti-Semitism. Exactly the same thing the BJP does, the RSS does. Anybody who accuses the BJP, who exposes the BJP, the RSS, questions it, it's all bigotry, the hatred. So they are called Hindu phobes, Hinduphobia. So they are saying Islamophobia is fiction, Hinduphobia is real. So some kind of, they are at the same time, they are playing Hindu victimhood card and Hindu sense of pride and power. So these are all these things which the RSS has over the years, they have perfected, sharpened their ideology, broadened it, perfected it, adapted it to the situation in India. So this is why I think I'll just come to an end now. So it's very true that today the BJP and the RSS, they have reached a kind of commanding height where no single ideology, no single party can effectively counter the BJP or defeat it. So this is why I think what we need is some kind of, let's say, the BJP today is relentlessly attacking our constitution. And the constitution in India was the product of our freedom movement. And the BJP is also negating, RSS, for example, there was recently Mohan Bhagavat's this statement that real independence in India came only with the consecration of the Ram Mandir. So it was not in 1947, but it was on 22nd January 2024, when with the consecration of the Ram Mandir, India attained real independence. So they are negating the whole legacy of our freedom movement. They are negating the constitution, which is probably the best product of our freedom movement. So now what we probably need to do is invoke the legacy of the freedom movement. So in the freedom movement, there are several ideological streams, but all of them were probably together in their anti-colonial nationalist urge for freedom. So today we need again an ideological convergence of all kinds of ideologies which are ready to fight the BJP in varying degrees. We cannot expect all ideologies to fight in the same manner, in the same degree, with the same kind of articulation. We cannot. But still, even if there is a loose ideological convergence possible, we need it. Just as we need, let's say, common minimum kind of a program. So we need some kind of common ideological convergence against the RSS, against the BJP. The other thing is, of course, the Constitution. And behind Constitution, not just the Constitution, but the entire thought of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So the radical legacy of Ambedkar's ideas. And it is unfortunate that in India, during the freedom movement, so a lot of those radical ideas, they could not actually come together. So a lot of slogans came up. For example, I would say annihilation of caste, Ambedkar's 1936 clarion call. That is one of the most radical slogans to have emerged from our freedom movement, just as these Inqilab Zindabad and Down with Imperialism, which Bhagat Singh had popularized, abolition of landlordism, the Kisan Manifesto, which the communist-led Kisan Andolan had popularized. So all these separate ideas, separate kind of slogans, they could not actually come together. There was a brief period when Baba Sahib Ambedkar was leading the Independent Labour Party, and when he was simultaneously targeting both Brahminism and capitalism. And that was probably the period when the Communists and Independent Labour Party, they were working together in the textile workers movement, in the peasant movement. Maharashtra then had witnessed many united peasant worker rallies, strikes, and that period the Independent Labour Party had electorally also made major progress. And that was the period when Baba Sahib Ambedkar was not only drafting the constitution, he was all the labor laws which are today being replaced by these 4 labor codes, which will completely do away with our hard-won labor rights. So that was also the beginning of India's labor rights, and Ambedkar was the pioneer. So that Ambedkarite kind of legacy, I think it's very, very important it's not just the Constitution and the preamble, but the preamble was rooted in this vision, which is of social equality, of social democracy. So that vision needs to be resurrected today. So I think today we need, just as the RSS has a lot of pragmatic flexibility in roping all kinds of allies, we too need a lot of flexibility, a lot of ability to combine a whole range of forces. And there are very important planks. Federalism, for example, because over-centralization is a very important feature of Indian fascism. So against this over-centralization, we need federal rights, federalism. Likewise, the anti-corporate age. Today, the workers' movement, the student youth movement, I think every movement is eventually realizing that without that, because this whole corporate, pro-corporate policies, they are actually not only taking away our jobs, they are also taking away our reservation. They are taking away a whole lot of things. The privatization is taking away education from the rich of the India's poor and deprived people. So this opposition to privatization, opposition to corporate power grab, resource grab, I think that today is becoming a common point in student movement, in youth movement, in women's movement, in farmers movement, in working class movement, and all this is probably giving rise to new possibilities of kind of alliances. For example, I was told by people who are organizing Maruti workers that the Maruti working class movement 10 years ago, that had to face a lot of obstruction from, let's say, the dominant farmers. But the same farmers, after going through the farmers movement, when they themselves are aware of the corporate kind of conspiracy against corporate takeover of agriculture, I think they are much more open to be sympathetic to the working class movement. So the Maruti workers movement today can possibly enjoy a lot of wider support from the farmers movement in Haryana. Likewise, when we had the Agniveer, the young people who are being deprived of their permanent jobs in the army, and they are being reduced to some kind of slavery, some kind of casual, permanent kind of casual employment. So the farmers, they readily supported them. When the women wrestlers, they were fighting against their humiliation and persecution and harassment. So they found a ready support in the farmers movement. So it is possible that this kind of period, we can have alliances of various movements. So alliances of various movements, convergence of broad kind of ideological convergence, and the broadest possible, let's say, electoral political understanding to keep the BJP out, which Tamil Nadu is one of the finest examples, most successful examples. But we must not, take it for granted. We must not rest on our laurels, because the BJP, after all, has shown its ability to grow everywhere. Even in Tamil Nadu, I think its vote share is growing. The whole disintegration of ADMK probably is providing the BJP with a lot of social space. It has grown enormously in Kerala. So the BJP, there is absolutely no reason to believe that South India, because of some historical reasons, cultural reasons, is fascism proof, that the BJP, the RSS cannot penetrate. So they have shown that every part of India they can make inroads. For example, the Christians in India, they are a major minority community, and they are also a target of attack by the BJP. I mean, after all, the lynching of Graham Staines was the first kind of lynching that we found, which eventually became all those cases of anti-Muslim lynching. But there has been all these struggles, attacks on churches against religious conversion. But today we find in all the Christian-dominated areas in Goa, they have made common cause against Muslims, the BJP and RSS. The whole of Northeast, which is a Christian-dominated kind of area, the BJP has absolutely no difficulty. The RSS has no difficulty in striking deals with them. And probably this is also the RSS BJP formula to grow in Kerala. So that's why I believe that we need not think that any particular community, there are communities which are quite strongly against the BJP, but we should not go by any kind of formula, and nothing should be taken for granted. After all, fascism is very, very dynamic. It is very, very open to striking alliances socially, politically, making appropriating ideas, appropriating icons, appropriating history. So that's why we are up against a very, very powerful enemy. And I'm sure Partho will agree, but I guess the kind of inside view which he had of RSS, that belongs to a previous era. So that is probably in the 80s. And that's when probably we had an earlier version of RSS. But today we have a far more sophisticated, far more powerful, and far more dangerous version of RSS, which is the cementing factor, guiding factor. It is the RSS which does everything. And that's why I believe that a lot of our inability to understand India's fascism stems from our inability to understand RSS. And that's why we continue to look for some kind of economic parameters or other parameters, so which need not necessarily be replicated in India. But we must understand that here is RSS, which belongs to that same era of Hitler and Mussolini, when fascism was in its infancy. So it is at that time that fascism started growing in India. Of course, it has been, it did not find a very hospitable climate. It did not find a very conducive kind of atmosphere in the early decades. But now that they are in power with all this corporatization, and finally, we should also understand that this, with America and let's say Israel, the strategic alliance. So that is another source of strength for fascism in India. So today, the anti-fascist resistance must also draw on this anti-imperialist struggle. I think this is also very, very important. Now is the period when we can probably take on, expose the BJP's nationalism, which has turned out to be, they are within India, they are out coercing all the weak, socially weak or politically weak forces. But in the global arena, they are capitulating to the United States on the tariff issue, on this deportation issue, on all these questions where we find many other countries, even small countries, even in America's own neighborhood, they have shown the courage to stand up to the America's, browbeating and arm twisting and this kind of blackmailing. But whereas India has just succumbed, our government is just capitulating. So this is, I think, very important moment for us, since we began with the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, remembering the martyrs. So the anti-colonial spirit of India's nationalism against British colonialism, today we need to upgrade it, and against America and Israel, this particular nexus, against this, I think we need to invoke the patriotic spirit, the internationalist spirit, and also the democratic progressive content of nationalism in India today, on the basis of farmers, workers, the toiling masses, keeping their interests at the center. So I think Partha's book will probably encourage us to develop our own critic, upgraded critic of RSS, and use his insider knowledge and his insightful critic. I think if that will be very, very handy for us. And that's why I wish that this book is read widely, and probably it should find, more translations in more Indian languages, so that we can have wider kind of knowledge about the RSS, and people are able to understand the RSS, because if you have to fight our enemy, we have to understand the enemy. So understanding the enemy and understanding where exactly how the enemy operates is probably winning half the battle. So this is why this awareness is very, very important. And I thank you all for taking this initiative to publish the book in Tamil. And I'm sure Tamil Nadu, this translation culture, I'm told, is very, very strong. So a lot of international books, national books, they probably are first translated in Tamil, and they have a very keen readership in Tamil Nadu. So I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share some of my ideas. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Comrade. Thank you very much for your speech, and you have given some new for understanding. Now, with the permission from the chair, for some of the comrades, I just want to say a few words in Tamil what Comrade had shared. தோழர் வந்து ஒரு அதாவது அவரோட ரொம்ப முக்கியமான நிறைய புள்ளிகளை தொட்டு சொல்றாரு. இந்த புத்தகத்தை பத்தி அவர் பேசுறதை விட ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் நம்ம எப்படி புரிஞ்சுக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறத சொல்ற அதே நேரத்துல வந்து ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் ஓட டேஞ்சர், ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் ஓட தோற்றம் என்ன, ஹிட்லர் முசோலினி தேர்ந்து நிறைய கத்துக்கிச்சு. ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் வந்து ஒரு ஃபெனாட்டிக் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் மட்டும் நம்ம நினைக்க கூடாது. அது வந்து ஒரு டைனமிக் ஆர்கனைசேஷன், தன்னை வந்து காலத்துக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி எப்படி தகவமைச்சு கொள்ளுது அப்படிங்கிற விஷயங்களை தொட்டு காமிச்ச அதே நேரத்துல நம்ம வந்து அதை எதிர்கொள்றதுக்கு இந்திய சுதந்திரத்தோட லெகசிஸா இருக்கிற இன்குலாப் ஜிந்தாபாத் என்கிற ஒரு கோஷத்தையும், பாபா சாஹிப் சொன்ன அனிகிலேஷன் ஆஃப் கேஸ்ட், சாதியை அழித்தொழிப்போம் என்ற கோஷத்தையும் சமமா அதை வந்து முன்னிறுத்தி ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் நம்ம எதிர்கொள்ளணும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு பாயிண்ட, ஒரு முக்கியமான பாயிண்ட் அவர் சொல்றாரு. அது இன்னும் அது ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் எவ்வளவு வந்து ரொம்ப டேஞ்சரஸான ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன், இன்டர்நேஷனல் லெவல்ல எப்படி வந்து நான் ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன மாதிரி அவரோட ஒயர் ஆர்டிக்கல்ல அவர் குறிப்பிட்டிருந்த மாதிரி எப்படி அது இன்டர்நேஷனல் லெவல்ல இந்தியாவை வந்து ஒரு கன்சர்வேட்டிவ்ஸ்க்கான ஒரு இடமா மாத்துறதுக்கான அஜெண்டாவோட சமீப காலங்கள்ல வேலை செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிற அந்த அபாயத்தை சுட்டிக்காட்டுற அதே நேரத்துல நம்ம நம்பிக்கை இழக்க வேண்டியதில்லை. நிறைய வந்து மக்கள் இயக்கங்கள் கடந்த காலங்கள்ல வந்து விவசாயிகள் இயக்கங்கள், விவசாய தொழிலாளர் இயக்கங்கள், இந்த மல்யுத்த வீராங்கனைகளோட இயக்கங்கள், இந்த மாதிரியான இயக்கங்கள் வந்து எப்படி ஒன்றுக்கொன்று சப்போர்ட்டிவா இருந்திருக்கு பிஜேபி ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் எதிர்க்கிறதுல. அந்த மாதிரியான மக்கள் இயக்கங்களோட ஒற்றுமையும் ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் பிஜேபி இதை வந்து நம்ம நாட்டை விட்டு ஒழித்து கட்டுவதற்கான ஒரு கன்வர்ஜென்ஸ்ல நம்ம அந்த பாயிண்ட்ல நிறைய பேர் இணைவதற்கான நிறைய இணைஞ்சு நிறைய வேலைகளும் நடந்திருக்கு அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு நம்பிக்கையான பாசிட்டிவ் நோட்டையும் அவர் வந்து சொல்றதுங்கிறது ரொம்ப முக்கியமான ஒரு விஷயமா நான் பாக்குறேன். அந்த இதுல இந்த புத்தகம் வந்து நாளைக்கு பாபா சாஹிப் அம்பேத்கரோட பிறந்த நாள். இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஆர்எஸ்எஸோட இன்னொரு முக்கியமான அஜெண்டா ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் பிஜேபியோடது நம்ம இந்திய அரசமைப்பு சாசனத்தை வந்து ஒண்ணுமில்லாம செய்யறதுக்கான ஒரு வேலைகளை செய்யற அந்த கான்ஸ்டியூஷனை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ண வேண்டிய நம்ம போராட்டத்தை கையில் எடுக்க வேண்டியதுக்கு இந்த புத்தகம் வந்து ஒரு நாம் எதிரியை வந்து நம்ம நல்லா புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டாதான் எதிரிக்கு எதிராக நம்மளோட சண்டையை வந்து ரொம்ப வீரமாக போட முடியும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கான அதுக்கு இந்த புத்தகம் வந்து ஒரு டூலா இருக்கும் அப்படிங்கிறதோட தோழர் தன்னோட உரைய ரொம்ப முக்கியமான உரைய அவர் முடிச்சுட்டாரு. தேங்க்யூ காம்ரேட் once again, as I said, for your thought provoking and while exposing the dangers of RSS, you have given a positive note that it is possible to counter RSS with our convergence, with our commitment to defeat RSS and BJP. Thank you once again, and I just welcome next Comrade Selvam, who is currently translating this book almost 7% of the translation. As I said, we will release, South Vision will release the Tamil translation of this book, and he has already translated a very important book about denotified tribes from English to Tamil. That is also awaiting release. So in that way, he has contributed to Tamil world. So this is also, it's a very, very important work he has taken with his works, with the commitment to fight RSS, to fight BJP. He's doing this translation, and I welcome Comrade Selvam to share his experience of translating this book. And yes, thank you. Selvam?
Hello, comrades. கேக்குதா?
கேக்குது தோழர்.
என்னோட வீடியோல ஏதோ ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, ஒரு நிமிஷம். வந்துட்டு கட் ஆயிடுது. ஹலோ
தோழர் கேக்குது, நீங்க பேசுங்க. வீடியோ இல்லைனாலும் பரவாயில்ல.
You just talk of it. பேசுங்க.
Yeah, my dear comrades, very good evening all of you. As Veni and Comrade Divangar has rightly told, today is Jallianwala Bagh Martyrs Day. The people, those who have struggled against the oppression of British imperialism, on the same day, we are also discussing about a totalitarian and totalitarian organization of Indian RSS. So I would like to convey my thanks to Comrade Balaji and Comrade Nidhi Rajan and also Comrade Partha Banerjee for letting me to translate this unique and timely, very important book, Gandhi's Killers, India's Rulers, My Days with BJP and RSS. I have told unique and very important because a lot of books regarding RSS has already been released in India, particularly 2018. Walter Anderson and Sridhar Dalmay's RSS, A View to the Inside. That book that book, and also on 2019, Aruna Anand's Know About RSS. That book also has been released. 2021, a small book from Kerala, Sudesh Minni's House of Hell. தமிழ்ல வந்து நரகமாளிகைன்னு வந்தது. And 2022, a great book of A.G. Noorani, that RSS a menace to India, like that. Lot of books are published during this short span of time in India to tell about RSS inside and outside. All these books are either by foreign authors or persons outside the RSS, those who know closely about RSS, or a low-level RSS worker who is several years who was in the RSS organization and writing, coming out from that organization and writing about the RSS. But this book author was a high-level functionary in RSS, I think, closely associated with Guru Golwalkar, and he is a teacher of officer training college. That RSS organization conducting this officer training college for a few notified important people, those who are very useful to RSS organization, and functioned as a state secretary of ABVP also. His father also was a hardcore RSS leader in Maharashtra and as well as in West Bengal, and closely associated with the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and others also. So the core information available in this book, I think the informations are very authentic and true. The political contents are of this book. Some political contents are also there regarding the political parties. Those informations are revolving around the years 92, 98, like that. And I think it is little outdated on my personal view for those who are actively participating in the current political scenario. Anyway, we are also translating those parts also, so that with current information, Comrade Partha can bring some other books also. I very much felt that this book is very important, because in a chapter, why this new book, Comrade Partha is writing, I will read out that passage. A small passage is there. I felt it was my time to rid myself of the sins I had accumulated by being with them, that is with RSS, for so long and so deeply, and writing and talking, teaching people about the real, dangerous, hateful, divisive, and fascistic Hinduism. Exploiting Sangh Parivar would be my redemption. All this from sins is thinking to redeem from Sangh Parivar. I have felt as if this is my own religious dip into the holy river Ganges. I write, I talk, and I teach to cleanse my soul. Like that, Comrade Partha has written in a chapter. Comrade Vani also highlighted this portion. This is very much important. I think this is like a confession statement. Confession statement from a RSS high-level functionary. So normally a confession statement with will be with full of true informations only, I think. Now I am some other points also I have to mention. தமிழ்ல தொடரலான்னு பார்க்குறேன் நான். தொடர்களே, நம்ம இதுல வந்து சங்கஸ்தான் பத்தி ஒரு சாப்டர் இருக்கு. சங்கஸ்தான் சொல்லிட்டு ஷாகா நடத்தக்கூடிய இடம் சங்கஸ்தான். ஷாகா வந்து உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், RSS வந்து தன்னுடைய குழந்தைகளையும் அவங்க வரக்கூடிய சிறுவர்களையும் இளைஞர்களையும் பயிற்றுவிக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு இடமாக ஷாகா வந்து இருக்குது. அது நடைபெறக்கூடிய இடமாக சங்கஸ்தான் இருக்கு. அதுல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த இதுல ஷஹா நடத்தக்கூடிய அதனுடைய 5:30 மணிக்கு அந்த பசங்க வர்றாங்கன்னா அவங்களை எப்படி அங்க ட்ரெயின் பண்றாங்க, ஈச் அண்ட் எவரி பாயிண்ட் அப்படி பாயிண்டா சொல்லியிருக்காரு. கிட்டத்தட்ட 7:15 வரையிலும் அந்த சங்கஸ்தான்ல ஷாஹா நடக்குது. ஒருவேளை இதற்கு ஷாகாவுக்கு வராத உறுப்பினர்கள் யாரோ சிறுவர்கள் விடுபட்டு போயிருந்தா கூட அவங்கள வந்து வீடு தேடி போய் அந்த ஆசிரியர் நைட்ல ஏன் வரல, உடம்புக்கு முடியலையா இல்ல வேற எதுவும் ப்ராப்ளமா அப்படின்னு அவர் போய் அவங்கள வாட்ச் பண்ணிட்டு மீண்டும் ஷாகாவுக்கு வர சொல்லி தூண்டுறது. அதற்கு அப்புறமா இதெல்லாம் முடிச்சுட்டு ஒரு டீ சாப்பிட்டு திரும்ப வந்து அவங்க ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் அலுவலகத்துக்கு போய் நாளைக்கு என்ன வேலை இருக்கு அப்படின்றத கேட்கறது. இது மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்டு ஃபார்ம் ஆஃப் ஆக்ஷன் தி ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் ஹேவிங் த்ரூ ஷாஹா அண்ட் த்ரூ சங்கஸ்தான். அது மாதிரி வந்து இது மாதிரி ஆர்கனைஸ்டு பேட்டர்ன் ஆஃப் ஒர்க் வந்து நம்ம சில கம்யூனிஸ்ட் மூவ்மெண்ட்ஸ்ல பார்க்க முடியும். அதுக்கு ஈக்குவலா வந்து ஆர்எஸ்எஸும் ஒரு ஆர்கனைஸ்டு பேட்டர்ன் ஆஃப் ஒர்க்கை வந்து வச்சிருக்காங்க அப்படின்றது. இது போக சிறுவர்களை ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்றது, பெண்களை ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்றது, இதெல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு கல்ச்சுரல் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ல வந்து ஒரு பெரிய தாக்கத்தை ஏற்படுத்தியிருக்காங்க அப்படின்றதான். பண்பாட்டு தளத்தில் ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் செய்த ஒரு பெரிய தாக்குதல் தான் வந்து இப்ப வரைக்கும் அவங்கள பெண்களையும் சிறுவர்களையும், சிறுவர்கள் அப்ப சிறுவர்களா இருந்தவங்க இப்ப இளைஞர்களா ஓட்டு போடுற வயசுக்கு வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் கூட ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் பக்கத்துல ஸ்ட்ராங்கா நிறுத்தி வச்சிருக்கு அப்படின்றது. இந்த புக் இன்னும் நிறைய இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் சொல்லுது. அதுல வந்து எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடித்தமான ஓரிரு பாயிண்ட்களை மட்டும் சொல்லி நான் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அதுல ஒரு 5வது சாப்டர் வந்து என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் கூட்டங்களில் அல்லது முக்கியமான ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ்ல பாடக்கூடிய பிரார்த்தனையும் ஏகத் மாதா ஸ்தோத்திரம் பத்தி சொல்லுது. ஏகத் மாதா ஸ்தோத்திரம் விச் வாஸ் ப்ரீவியஸ்லி கால்ட் அஸ் பாரத் பக்தி ஸ்தோத்திரம் அண்ட் நவ் இட்ஸ் கன்வெர்டட் டு ஏகத் மாதா ஸ்தோத்திரம். அது மாதிரி கன்வெர்ட் ஆனதுல ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் குயிக்ல சில பேராகிராஃப் எல்லாம் சேர்க்கிறது, எதை முன்னாடி கொண்டு வந்து எதை பின்னாடி கொண்டு போறது, அதாவது இந்த பொலிட்டிக்கல் ஸ்ட்ரக்சருக்குள்ளார ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் வந்து பிஜேபியை கொண்டு வர்றதுக்கு உண்டான அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட்ஸுக்கு ப்ரீபிளான்டா எப்படி வேலை பார்த்திருக்காங்க அப்படின்றத அதுல ரொம்ப டீட்டெயில்டா அவரு பார்த்தா பானர்ஜி வந்து சொல்றாரு. அந்த பாரத் பக்தி ஸ்தோத்திரம் அது ஒரு 30 ஸ்தோத்திர பாடல்களா இருக்கு. அதுல வந்து பழைய பாரத் பக்தி ஸ்தோத்திரத்துல இருந்து மாறி ஏகத் மாதா ஸ்தோத்திரமா வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் பெண்கள்னாலே தெரியும் நம்மளுக்கு பெண்களை வந்து ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் எந்த அளவுக்கு மதிக்கிறாங்க அப்படின்றதும், அவங்களை வந்து ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் அந்த அந்த ஆர்கனைசேஷனுக்கு உள்ளாரையே விடாம ஆண்கள் மட்டுமே இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன் அது இருக்குது அப்படின்றதும். ஆனா இந்த ஏக் மாதா ஸ்தோத்திரத்துல வந்து பெண்களையும் இப்ப வந்து சேர்த்திருக்காங்க. பெண் ஆளுமைகள் கடவுளர்கள் பேரையும் அதுல சேர்க்கிறது. அதே மாதிரி டு அப்பீஸ் சீக்ஸ் கம்யூனிட்டி they have added Amritasaras regarding Amritasaras into this and again அண்ணல் பீம்ராவ் அம்பேத்கர், அப்புறம் வந்து பழங்குடி தலைவர் பகவான் பிர்சா முண்டா, நம்ம ஊரு ராஜேந்திர சோழன், கிருஷ்ணதேவராயர், மகாத்மா காந்தி. நமக்கெல்லாம் தெரியும் மகாத்மா காந்திய படுகொலை பண்ணது யாருன்றது கூட. ஆனா அவங்களுடைய ஸ்தோத்திர பாடல்ல வந்து மகாத்மா காந்தி பிரைஸ் பண்ணி ஒரு பாட்டு வச்சிருக்காங்கன்றதான். சுப்பிரமணிய பாரதி, நேதாஜி சுபாஷ் சந்திர போஸ், வனவாசிகளுடைய நண்பர் தக்கர் பாபா அண்ட் கேரளாவுடைய சமூக சீர்திருத்தாளர் ஸ்ரீ நாராயணகுரு. இது மாதிரி வந்து அதாவது இந்த பொலிட்டிக்கல் ஸ்ட்ரக்சருக்குள்ளார பிஜேபியை வந்து திணிக்கிறதுக்கும் அவங்களுக்கு உதவி பண்றதுக்குமான ஒரு இந்த பாடலாக அதை வந்து மாத்திருக்காங்க அப்படின்றது. அதே போல இன்னொரு சாப்டர்ல தோழர் பார்த்தா என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, பிஜேபி எப்படி எலெக்ஷன்ல எல்லாம் வின் பண்றாங்க, இத வந்து யுஎஸ்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய 2 குடியரசு கட்சியும் இந்த இன்னொரு கட்சியும் சேர்ந்து எப்படி மாறி மாறி ஜனங்களை வந்து ஆட்சி பண்றதுக்கு இல்ல ஒருத்தர் மாத்தி ஒருத்தர் ஆட்சிக்கு வர்றதுக்கு ஊடகங்களை எப்படி வந்து பயன்படுத்துறாங்க, இல்லாட்டினா அவங்க வந்து அவங்ககிட்ட ஒரு கான்சென்ட் பீப்புள் மத்தியில வந்து கான்சென்ட் வந்து எப்படி மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்றாங்க அப்படின்றத ரொம்ப டீட்டெயிலா சொல்லியிருக்காரு. இது நோம் சாம்சோக்கியோட பாலிசியில இருந்து அவர் மேற்கோள் காட்டி பார்த்தா வந்து எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ண இது மாதிரியான மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் கான்செப்ட் பத்தி டீடைல்டா அந்த ஒரு சாப்டர்ல எழுதிட்டு இருக்கிறாரு. இதோட சேர்த்து இன்னொரு சுவாரஸ்யமான விஷயம் என்னன்னா, பிற்சேர்க்கையாக அப்பெண்டிக்ஸ் ஒன்னாக தோழர் பார்த்தா பானர்ஜியினுடைய தந்தையார் அவரும் வந்து ஒரு ஹார்கோடு சங் சங் பரிவாரில் சுயம் சேவக்கா இருந்து ஜிதேந்திர பானர்ஜி அவருடைய சுயசரிதை கட்டுரைய வங்காளத்திலிருந்து ஆங்கிலத்தில் மொழிபெயர்த்து அதை ஆங்கிலத்திலிருந்து இப்ப தமிழ்ல மொழிபெயர்த்திருக்கோம். அதுலயும் அவர் வந்து எப்படியெல்லாம் ஒர்க் பண்ணாரு ஆர்எஸ்எஸ்குள்ள, எதையுமே எதிர்பார்க்காம ஒரு தியாகபூர்வமான பணியை வந்து ஆர்எஸ்எஸ்ல பண்ணியிருக்காரு அப்படின்றத இந்த சுயசரிதை கட்டுரை ரொம்ப. அது எங்க இருந்து துவங்குதுன்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா, ஒரு விஜயதசமி நாள் அன்னைக்கு அந்த ஆர்எஸ்எஸ் வந்து ஊர்வலம் போறாங்க இல்லையா, ப்ரொசஷன் போறார். அந்த ப்ரொசஷனை போய் வேடிக்கை பார்க்க போனவர் அதுல அட்ராக்ட் ஆகி ஆர்எஸ்எஸ்க்கு போறாரு. அங்க வந்து எல்லா ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸும் பிடிச்சு போய் அதுக்குள்ளார போய் ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு ஃபங்க்ஷனரியா மாறிடுறாரு அப்படின்றதுதான். அதுவும் இது மாதிரி ஒரு சில பாயிண்ட்ஸ் தான் நாம சொல்லி இருக்கிறோம். இன்னும் பல தகவல்கள் வந்து ரொம்ப முக்கியமா ஆர்எஸ்எஸ்க்கு உள்ளார இருந்து வந்தக்கூடிய ஒரு ட்ரூ இன்ஃபர்மேஷன்ஸ் அந்த புக்ல இருக்கு அப்படின்றதான் உண்மை. And also to conclude, I once again convey my congratulations to Mr. Partha Banerjee to give away more books like this regarding RSS and other communal organizations, and also convey my thanks for giving me an opportunity to introduce this book to Comrade Balaji and Comrade Nidhi Rajan. I will finish my speech, comrades. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. So he was just highlighting the importance of the book and his experience in translating this. Just a few words about what he said in Tamil, that he was praising that how minute details of about sorry, comrade, about how minute details about how this Sangathan, a place where Saha happens, how they are training children for the evening 2 hours, and even left out children, the teacher will go to their house and ensure that they are coming the next day. And after that, how they will go to the RSS office and plan for the next day. So these are all how organized work they are doing was briefly explained in this book. Like this type of organized pattern will be, we can see in some of the communist movements. So they are like that, such organizing pattern they are following, and organizing women in cultural front, it has a greater impact. And another in 5th chapter, RSS meetings, how they converted their prayer, and they have included so many leaders of various various leaders from Birsa Munda to Ambedkar to Narayana Guru and Thakkar Baba, Gandhi. So all sorts of leaders they have introduced in their prayer songs, praising them. This is a plan to make BJP in the political front, to introduce BJP in the political front. So how well they are rescheduling their agenda, rechanging and accommodating according to the need. So this was minutely explained in this chapter, which Comrade Selvam shared in his thing. And also Partha's father's biographic article, that how dedicated work he has done in the RSS, we can see in that article. So that was also translated being translated in Tamil. So once again, thank you, Comrade Selvam. And we all expect all these comrades who attended this meeting also to attend the Tamil release of this book in advance. I'm inviting all of you. And next I call Comrade Vijay Kumar, Advocate Vijay Kumar, to give his experience and his felicitation address. And Comrade Vijay Kumar, he's an advocate. He's a pioneer advocate in Madras High Court, and he studied with Comrade Balaji. They both are college mates in law college, and they both worked together in SFI Students Federation of India. And later on, he took his advocate profession, and with that profession, he took many cases for human rights and for Dalit rights and labor rights And so many cases like supporting victims of Mela Valavu, supporting victims of so many labor struggles. And he's a very famous lawyer in Madras High Court. So I invite Comrade Vijay Kumar to give his address.
Thank you. கேக்குதா? Hello?
Yes, Comrade. You're audible. Yes, கேக்குது.
Yeah, okay, okay.
நல்லா கேக்குது.
சரி, சரி. I am very thankful to Comrade M. Balaji, founder of the South Vision Book, Comrade Nidhi Rajan, Comrade K. Veni for giving this opportunity. This is a very important event because I have one தலைவர் கருணாநிதி ஒரு தடவை சொன்னாரு, he told that RSS is an octopus. That comes to my mind. This is in 20 years back. இப்போ very recently Gandhi's great grandson Tushar Gandhi made a point. RSS is a poison. They are trying to destroy the soul of the country. We should be fearful about that because if the soul is lost, everything is lost. So இந்த ரெண்டு விஷயங்கள் இந்த புக் ரிலீஸின் போது எனக்கு ஞாபகத்துக்கு வருது. இப்போ ஒரு விஷயம், I will start with the திருக்குறள். அறிவுடைமை chapter 43. எப்பொருள் யார் யார் வாய் கேட்பினும் அப்பொருள் மெய்ப்பொருள் காண்பதறிவு. எவர் எதை பற்றி சொன்னாலும் அதை பற்றிய உண்மையை அறிய வேண்டும். To discern the truth in everything from whomsoever it may hear his wisdom. On that basis, Dr. Partha Banerjee's book, as an insider, will educate every Indian if they read and know the dangers of RSS. In his book about the killing of Mahatma Gandhi, he clearly told that Mahatma Gandhi was murdered by an RSS member, and that is the common belief. This is a very good caption because on 13 January 1948, within less than a year of the Indian independence, Nathuram Godse, Hindu zealot from western Indian state of Maharashtra, shot and killed Mahatma Gandhi at a prayer meeting in New Delhi. Nathuram Godse was a prominent member of RSS and a close associate of its founder, Dr. K.B. Edgeworth. Just before the assassination, however, Godse left the RSS and joined another Hindu supremacist group, Hindu Mahasabha. So this is very clear that in order to escape from the clutches of law, RSS allowed him to change the organization before killing Mahatma Gandhi. That truth is completely exposed, and my when I think about Mahatma Gandhi, one thing always will be in my mind. Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy that truth is God always made an impact on me. Following truth is very fundamental for society to grow. Gandhi Killers, India's Rulers by Dr. Partha Banerjee provides first-hand information regarding activities of Sangh Parivar. Not only the philosophy, truth is God is very important. I have to add one more philosophy. From the philosophy of truth is God, we shall have to add one more core philosophy that love is God. In contemporary world situation, not only love become a God, we as humans shall have to protect all living beings and nature from man-made existential threats for the survival of mankind. This is very important. When we discuss about RSS or any other fascist organization, or the brutal killings in the Palestine, or discussing any war, or against any fascist rulers, now the one priority is not only speaking the truth, but not only loving the human beings. Human beings has to love all living beings, and they have the commitment to save nature. Otherwise, the entire human civilization will perish. That I want to convey through this discussion. Because it's an important the discussion, and this book release function is giving very insight about RSS. When I have read only once this book, I came from a very remote village in Kanyakumari district. We do not know anything about the nature of RSS. But when Mandakad, the writing took place, RSS the role became apparent in Kanyakumari district. Thereafter, in Tamil Nadu also, we had to keep one thing in mind: this Ganesh Chaturthi procession. Slowly, it became a contentious issue where violence was unleashed. They have slowly they created riot by entering Muslim hamlets or Muslim habitable areas. This is what exactly happening all over India, where Dr. Partha Banerjee has clearly explained as an insider about the role of RSS. His first sentence itself in the prologue is very important. Many years ago, when I was very young, my father took me to Sangh Shaga in North Calcutta neighborhood. Since then, I remained in Sangh or the RSS for more than 15 precious years of my life. I made friends, played games, sang songs, paraded on the street, took part in the rallies and discussions, and did numerous other things for them year after year. Yet I did not regret it when I came out of the organization. In fact, I was happy when I finally freed myself from his clutches. However, I permanently lost touch with some good friends, and that made me sad. So, information regarding RSS, when his conscience pricked, he came out of the organization, the fascist organization, and he is exposing the truths. That we have to appreciate Partha. We have to wish him. We have to wish him for the service he is doing to the Indian society. He says, among others, I would emphasize the following points: that I consider seriously problematic and unethical with so-called Sangh Parivar, his pretense of being non-political, the conformity and the religio-cultural monolithism with preachers and practices, is now exposed hypocritical self-assertion of being organized difference, the militaristic regimented disposition, the way it traps young people and controls them, his segregation of men, women, his fascist, supremacist, communal, exclusionary, social, political, religious, and economic dogmas. Now, whether RSS is a fascist organization or neo-fascist organization, all this discussion now emerge. But we must understand the dangerous consequences of RSS, which grown as an octopus organization. Recently, Modi has visited RSS headquarters, and he clearly told RSS is a banyan tree. he affirmed his allegiance to RSS. So the dangers are there. Reading Dr. Partha's book will give us a long insight regarding the octopus nature of the organization, their pushing, their ideology of pushing Indian society 2000 years backward, and the domination of the upper caste, especially the Brahmin upper caste people in Maharashtra. That we have to also take into consideration. Now the moot question is, as a lawyer, I want to convey you certain experience. For the last 10 years, after Modi government came into power, they started their the anti-people policies. First through Garvapsi, then killing and lynching, killing people on the guise of saving cows. Then sudden imposition of GST, sudden demonetization, sudden lockdown, sudden implementation of CAA, NRC, sudden scrapping of Article 370. At that time, this book was released. Now 5 years are gone. There is a qualitative change now. There is a threat to Indian democracy, secularism, public sector undertakings, and also threat to federalism. These are all now, for the last 10 years, there is a qualitative change. They thought they will bring Hindu Rashtra in 2025 itself, in their 100th year of formation. But that was not possible due to the formation of India bloc. Though there were several contradictions, due to the concerted fight of India bloc, their aim of getting 400 seats were reduced to 240. Otherwise, if they had won 400 seats, definitely they have thrown out the Indian constitution. Now they say Vikshit Bharat in 2047. That is, the aim was to replace Indian constitution by 2047. The crux of the matter is whether we, the progressive forces, are going to dethrone RSS from its dominant position or not. We had to formulate the alternate slogan. That is, establishing a true democratic, secular, socialist republic in India in 2047. There should be our aim. As Dibanga Bhattacharya made important points, as a left-thinking lawyer, my point is, unless all the progressive forces in India unite and give a concerted fight to eradicate the octopus RSS from power and push forward the slogan of establishing a truly secular, democratic, socialist republic with full equality, liberty, justice and fraternity as enshrined in Indian Constitution, there is no way out. This slogan we have to push forward. I wish Dr. Partha Banerjee to do more, and wish him all success in his efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Thank you. Now, I invite Dr. Partha Banerjee, the author of this important book, and to give his speech. Yes, Dr. Partha.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I do not want to speak for a very long time because many of you have already spoken. And Dipankar Bhattacharya is a good friend and a brother, and I really want to thank him first for introducing me to your circle and your publishing organization. And then I also would like to thank Mr. Niti Rajan and Mr. Balaji and all the other friends for having me on this discussion on this very, very important auspicious day, which is the Jallianwala Bagh Massacre Day, the 13th of April. And Dipankar Bhattacharya already mentioned, I just want to re-emphasize that Rabindranath Tagore renounced his knighthood during the British regime in a strong letter of protest to the Queen, and he gave up his salutation of Sir, or the knighthood, to protest the brutal massacre. So that history must also be revisited, because as we all know, history itself is being excluded from the awareness of the Indian people, especially the younger generation. People simply do not have any idea about how this country was freed from the barbaric British rule, who gave their lives, thousands of young men and women gave their lives to free India from the brutality of 200 years of British regime. And they also do not know anything about organizations such as RSS. Because I was involved with this organization for almost 20 years, first through a connection of my father, Jitendranath Banerjee, who was a very highly ranked RSS Pracharak and was a very close associate of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and L.K. Advani. I first came in touch with RSS through him. I was only a 6-year-old kid and didn't know anything about politics at that very young age. But then slowly but surely, I became a leader myself and went up on the hierarchical ranks of the Sangh. And then I realized that it was definitely not my kind of an association. I realized that it was a completely male chauvinistic, Hindi dominated, upper caste dominated, Brahminical, anti-Bengali, for that matter, fascistic organization. And then slowly but surely, I knew that at some point I would have to come out. And then in the early 80s, I finally came out. It was a very, very difficult process for me to finally come out of RSS because of two reasons. One is that my father was such a towering figure in RSS, and he was so highly respected. And I was so highly respected when I left, because when I left, I was the Joint Secretary of West Bengal ABVP, RSS's student organization. And they were sending me to New Delhi for all India conferences and whatnot. And I was becoming very well known in RSS circle. So that was one reason. And the second reason, I jokingly often say that being with RSS was like being in a bad marriage. You know that it is really bad for you, but you simply cannot come out. It takes a very long time for you to finally get the courage and the determination to come out of this extremely bad, toxic marriage. So it took me some time to finally come to that point when I left. And then I started working as a 25-year-old college professor in a very, very remote rural college in southern West Bengal in the Sundarbans forest area, where I spent 4 years of my life teaching and living in that area in an extremely impoverished region of Bengal. where there was no running water, no electricity, no doctor, no hospital, no market, not even a phone. So that was my very close association with the real India at that time. So I taught there for 4 years from 1981 to 1985. And then I left for USA for some very strong political compulsions. And then since that point of time, from 1985, I have been living in the United States. First, I was a student, then I was a science professor. I did my PhD in USA in biological science. And then I changed my career again. When I was 40 years old, I left science and went back to Columbia University as a journalism master's student, and started living in New York City, first as a journalist and then as a human rights activist. And then finally, my 14 years of career was as a professor at a labor union college, where I taught critical thinking to 30,000 American workers. So it has been my life in a nutshell. And now what I'm doing is that I took a voluntary retirement, because in America, there is no age for retirement. You can keep working as long as you want. But then I decided to leave my work, and I came back to India, and I have been spending 3, 4, 5 months in India every single year. In fact, I'm going back to America, to New York, to my family on the 23rd of April. For this time, I have already stayed here for almost 3 months. I'm going back, and then I will probably come back in December again, because I'm now very deeply involved with non-partisan but anti-fascist political activities in Bengal. And we are doing our best so that they cannot come back to power in Bengal. If you do not know, a huge communal violent riot has broken out in West Bengal. In fact, starting from yesterday or the day before yesterday, in a district called Murshidabad, a huge, violent, dangerous kind of a communal riot broke out. And many people suspect that it was the handiwork of RSS and their operatives, because they are desperate to come to power in Bengal. And many people simply do not know the connection between RSS and BJP. When I speak with people, and I have spoken with thousands and thousands of people, both in the cities and in the countryside, practically everybody knows about BJP, but maybe 5% of these people, otherwise politically savvy people, they actually know about RSS. They simply have no idea. So this has been one of RSS's huge successes among many other successes, that even after working for 100 years, they were established in 1925, and today is 2025. So in 100 years, one of their biggest successes has been that they have worked so steadfastly and gained so much power all over India, keeping themselves completely secret and unidentified. So this is like a huge, huge success, and you have to give them credit for that. So very few organizations in the world have been able to do this without being noticed by people. So most people simply do not know what RSS is all about. So one of my challenges is to expose RSS and their connection with BJP and ABVP and Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh and all the different other frontal organizations that they have created, and inform them that this is all RSS, these are all RSS's brain children. RSS is behind all of these single organizations. And Dipankar Bhattacharya rightly pointed out that when I wrote my first book, I just want to show you real quick. This is the first book that came out in 1998, In the Belly of the Beast, the Hindu supremacist RSS and BJP of India, an insider story. So that came out from Delhi, from Ajanta Books International in 1998. And then I wrote it all sitting in New York when I really didn't have any access to the internet or anything like that. It was like pre-internet days, or just internet just came into being at that time. But then the book that we are now talking about is this book, which is like an updated, much more revised edition of In the Belly of the Beast. And I really want to thank you all for putting this book out in Kindle and audio versions. A Bengali translation also came out. I called it Danober Pete Du Doshok. That means 2 decades in the belly of the beast. So this is the Bengali version, and I hope that there is a way to translate this book into, particularly into Hindi and Urdu, because keeping in mind that a large number of people, a vast section of Indian people, especially in North India, speak Hindi. So I think, and in Urdu, this book probably should be translated in those 2 languages, if not any other language. So this is my request for you. I know that you are based in Tamil Nadu, and I really wanted to come to Tamil Nadu this time, but that did not happen. But maybe next time when I visit India, perhaps in December of 2025, I will get a chance to come visit Tamil Nadu and meet all of you. Tamil Nadu is a place which is famous for its poets and authors and artists and dancers and singers and temples and whatnot. So I have a plan to come to Tamil Nadu and meet people there as much as possible before it is too late. I just want to very quickly point out about some chapters. I think Mr. Selvan already talked about some of the chapters, even though he was speaking in Tamil Nadu, in Tamil, but I sort of understood what he was talking about. So the book has many chapters. One chapter, I'm just giving you the titles of the chapters so that you understand what this book is all about. The prologue, I think Mr. Vijay Kumar spoke about the prologue. What is my problem with them? Why did I even bother to leave? So I highlighted, elaborated some of those points. Then the second thing that I wrote about is their connection, direct connection with Hitler and Mussolini and their fascistic and Nazi ideologies, which many people simply do not know that they were actually built, totally built in 1925 on the footsteps of Hitler and Mussolini. In fact, their uniform, their marches, their rituals, their salutation, everything is directly borrowed from Hitler and Mussolini and their brown shirt and whatnot. So that is something that I wrote in detail. The third thing that I talked about is their source of money. They have billions and billions of dollars and rupees and pounds, but back in those days, they didn't have that kind of money, but still they had tons of money, and much of that money came from anonymous sources when they left an envelope in front of their flag, their saffron flag, bowing to the flag on the day of Guru Dakshina. So nobody knew how much money was raised, nobody knew how much money was collected, and nobody knew if they ever paid any taxes on them. And I was actually doing that collection myself, going from door to door back in those days, but I simply didn't understand how the thing actually worked and what the consequences were. How they indoctrinate their members, the Sanghasthan, I think either Mr. Selvan or Mr. Vijay Kumar talked about that also. How do they actually indoctrinate young people at a very, very young age? Then I talked about the Swadeshi movement of RSS, BJP, and BMS, which has been a complete hoax, because they, on one hand, talked about a nationalistic economy to please the old generation people in India. But then for the new generation people of India, they have completely, gone 180 degrees and talked about a neoliberal economy and practiced it and imposed an American toxic economy, a crony capitalism, throttled it down the neck of Indian people. So the hypocrisy must be exposed. This is really a very, very hypocritical organizations. They would do anything and go to any length to please any kind of people. And their most important three enemies, which Golwalkar and Savarkar and the later years of RSS leaders, they have often talked about their number one enemy in India are the Muslims, number two are the Christians, and number three are the communists and socialists. So they have repeatedly said that in all their literatures, their organizer, their Panchajanna, their Bengali mouthpiece, all their books, everywhere, they have frequently talked about these three enemies of India. Number one, Muslims, number two, Christians, and number three, communists and socialists. So this has always been there. There are 6 festivals. I think somebody also mentioned about that in Tamil. They have very strange way of including festivals. So they celebrate 6 important festivals in their own circles. And these are all obviously Hindu Brahminical festivals. And number two, all the non-Hindu festivals are completely excluded. And number three, they have very little space for, people and traditions and cultures that are not Hindi based, North India based. So I think South Indian people, especially Tamil people and Malayalam people, they understand it very well. But now they have, as Dipankar pointed out, they have made inroads into Kerala, they have made inroads into Tamil Nadu. Just yesterday or the day before yesterday, I read the news that BJP has made a new coalition with AIADMK to fight the elections. And this is very ominous as far as I'm concerned, because just like here in Bengal, CPM would do anything to unseat or throw Mamata Banerjee out of power. These AIADMK type people would do anything to come back to power, and they would not hesitate for a second to go to bed with, a fascist organization like BJP. So this is very sad. I have talked about their holidays and other days of celebration that you can find in the printed version of the book in table 1 on page number 63. And every single festival, every single day of celebration that RSS has is Hindu, Brahminical, mostly. They have included some other days in their later years, but not a single celebration that the minorities celebrate in India. It is all Hindu, 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 and upper caste, upper caste, upper caste. So these are things that we need to talk about. And then I included many different quotations. One of the quotations is D.D. Kosambi, who observed that during this process, new gods were introduced, how they actually replace regional cultures and regional festivities, ways of worshiping, ways of celebrating with their Brahminical version of Hinduism. So Kosambi says that new gods were introduced and gods unsuitable to the Brahminic needs were made inferior. Quote, new places of pilgrimage were introduced with suitable myths to make them respectable, though they could only have been savage pre-Brahman cult spots. Buddha and some totemic deities, including the primeval fish, tortoise, and boar, were made into incarnations of Vishnu Narayan. The monkey-faced Hanuman, so popular with the cultivators as to be a peculiar god for the peasantry with an independent cult of its own, becomes the faithful companion servant of Ram, another incarnation of Vishnu. And if you come to Bengal, right now, you will find out very quickly how Bengali festivities and rituals are fast being replaced by this Hanuman worshipping, very strongly Gujarat, UP type, Maharashtra type festivities, and Bengal is transforming rapidly, losing its own culture, which is RSS's one of the primary goals. I talked about how women are always considered inferior in RSS circles, and I have seen that in my own life. I have seen how RSS treats women, and then how BJP wins elections. These are afterthoughts that you cannot find in the belly of the beast, but you can find it in Gandhi's killers, India's rulers. So I have done my best not just to talk about my life with RSS during the first 20 years, but also my insight and perspectives and analysis about RSS and its very, very powerful way of functioning throughout India in the later years up until today. So I thank you again for translating this book into Tamil and putting out the Kindle and audio versions. And I hope that you can find a way to spread the news, not just across Tamil Nadu, but in other parts of South India and the rest of India. And maybe you can also find me a way to have the book translated in other major languages. So thank you once again. If you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Partha. And the floor is to the audience and the many questions. தமிழ்ல கேட்கறது இருந்தா கூட கேட்கலாம். ஒன்று ரெண்டு.
I think this we can't have now at this time questions. Many.
ரொம்ப லேட் ஆயிடுச்சு. It's it's almost
you have to end
10,
up
20
the
minutes. So, okay.
We will have the
Thank you once
Tamil
again.
book release function up.
So when we are hosting a similar meeting for the Tamil book release, we'll have earlier scheduled meeting, and we'll have questions and things like that. And thanks for once again, thank you for giving us the opportunity, and for Dr. Partha, and thank you, Comrade Dipankar, Comrade Vijay Kumar, Comrade Balaji, Comrade Selvam, and many other comrades who participated in this meeting and made this meeting very successful. Once again, thank you all